Hello everyone. How is everybody doing today? I'm just trying to make sure that I can get this pulled up on my end to follow along. And hopefully the iPad will behave. There we go. Now if I click on it, let's see if I can actually comment because it's been wanting to close when I open it up there. If you're here, say hello. Yep, it's closing. So we are going to have to get another device. It still doesn't want to behave. So we'll try one more time. For some reason it just, I think it's time for a new iPad. So today I will be walking through the annual catalog. I realize that you've probably seen some catalog walkthroughs or versions of anyhow, but I always like to make sure that I do one for you guys just in case you haven't seen one yet. And for those of you that wait for me to do one and see the samples that I share along with it. So I will walk through this catalog and show you what is retired, what is staying, what's on sale, and I have samples nearby to show you. Sorry for the volume there. I have samples with me to show you the products in use. So hopefully that will give you some inspiration so that you can prioritize what you want on your, what you most want on your wish list. All right, so I will just get the comments up here. Whoops, it's not wanting to stay tightened. There we go. Okay. All right, so I will begin with the beginning of the catalog and we'll walk through page by page. So I'll give you a second to grab your Sharpie or pen, whatever you're comfortable marking your catalog with. And first I will have a retirement list promotion. So similar to other promotions, if you use the host code that I have labeled here, so I'll back this off. Actually, I'm gonna slide this up because you guys can't see it. Hopefully that will help there. So if you, do you not have volume, Ramona? Hello. Linda's here. Maybe just make sure that the volume on your device is on. Ryan says he has volume on his end. Let me know if you get it working on your end there. So I'll keep watching the comments to see how you're doing with that. So with this host code here, you can qualify for my retirement promotion. So that will work similar to other years, where if you purchase $65, I will have a free gift for you. And then with a $100 purchase, we will have a retirement party. And I've got some past events that I have ready to go out to people as well. Hi, Linda. So I will be updating those of you who are waiting for those with information on that. So it's been definitely a few months of working hard to get caught up here. Hi, Karine, how are you? So anyhow, we'll get into the list. Keep this in mind. If you are wanting to place an order, there is no pressure to. I'm happy to share this catalog and what's retiring with customers, demos, friends, whoever you are welcome to watch. All right, so we will get started. We really don't need to go through table of contents and all of those things. Hi, Michelle. So we'll just keep flipping till we get to the first things that retire. All right, so we have on, I just want to catch my view, make sure that you guys can see it. On pages 14 and 15, the Bright and Beautiful Suite, it has some retiring elements. So we are going to lose the bundle and the dies. So both, hi Peggy, stamps and dies are both retiring. The DSP will carry over and the specialty paper will also retire. So I have a couple of samples here to show you guys. I had posted these long ago. So the samples you see will be projects from the past, but I just pull them out so that you guys can see products in action. So there is one, and then I have this one as well. And these both feature the vellum that is also retiring. So we've got those there. All right, there's no discount on that bundle. This one here, Carousel Horses on page 16 is also retiring. This stamp set has already sold out. So if you have it and you need the dies, you can still get those. You just cannot get the stamp set anymore. On page 17, the Circle Sayings bundle is also retiring. So the stamps will retire and they will be leaving. The punch, I believe, is carrying over. I'm just going to confirm on page 147. Yes, so the 2 3/8 circle is staying. The stamp set will be what's leaving. On page 18, we have the Charming Sentiments bundle is retiring. The stamps are leaving. The dies are 50% off at $24. And I just want to confirm if I have a stamp here or card here. And I'm just looking for the greeting. Nope, this one is from a different stamp set. So I don't need, this is the one that I was talking about, but this is actually from a different set. So we're good on that one. The next page, page 19, we have the Lazy Days stamp set and dies are retiring. The stamps are already sold out, so those you cannot get. However, the dies are 20% off down to $37.60. I'm going to just bring this a little closer for you guys all to see. The dies with this one, I think, would still be really cute on their own. You get this nice detailed rocking chair. I'm trying to bring that closer for you guys to see. And then this pergola, you get a little railing, you've got some leafy stems, and then there's this little carpet here. So I think you could still use those even without the stamp set, if that was something that you had a use for. I'll just bring this closer again. You can see the railing there. Here is the rocking chair, the pergola. So you definitely still have some uses with that one, even without the stamps. All right, this one I'm really sad about. While you guys are watching, or if you're commenting later, if you're busy marking your catalog and you don't have much time to comment right now, tell me if you know my stamping, which things you think I'm most sad about. I'll give it up on this one. This is one of them. So I love this stamp set. We did In Color Club with this one. And then I also have another card that I wanted to show you guys. All right, so you can use this one to create cherries, and then it also makes a really cute apple. So these are the cards that we did with In Color Club like 2 years ago, because that is the colors. These are the outgoing In Colors. So we have these samples here, and I actually used it more often as an apple than I did cherries. So those were the In Colors, or In Color Club cards. And then I also created this one here where I turned it into an apple. And oh gosh, I can't remember what all I used for this one, but I think I did that on a live. I can't remember, but anyhow, I love making that one into an apple. All right, next is seasonal. Oh, sorry, I need to give you the details on this one. So page 20, Sweetest Cherries. The French version is 30% off down to $17.50, and the punch is 50% off down to $15. Again, this one here, if you want to make cherries or apples even without the stamp set is still available, but the punch itself for $15 is a great item to have to make the cherries or the apples. Skipping ahead to page 21. Hi, Patty. We have the Seasonal Branches bundle. This one was another one I used for In Color Club last year when this was introduced, and it is fully retiring, so the stamp set is not discounted. The dies are 50% off down to $23.50. So we have this card here where we used stamps and dies. Then this one here, we did use the stamps, but it was mostly featuring the dies. The Around the Bend dies are also retiring. So that's you know what, the dies are carrying over. It's the stamp set, I think, that is leaving. So sorry about that. And then this card here. So that is the Seasonal Branches. Flipping ahead to page 22, Dainty Delight is retiring. The French version of the stamp set is 40% off, down to $20.40. The English version is 30% off, down to $23.80. And the dies are 50% off, down to $24.50. And I do have, I believe that I made this one with the Dainty Delight dies. I will just skip ahead and confirm page 163. And if I'm from memory, if that's correct, you can see that the dies are great on their own, even without, yes. So I made this card with these dies here. It's this one here that I just layered repeatedly in here to create the wreath. And then the flowers were made with this little daisy and these little elements in here. So even without the stamp set, the dies at 50% off for $24.50 are a really pretty set of dies. So there's that one there. All right, next, Hope You Know is carrying over, so we're good with that one. On page 23, Handmade Hugs is retiring. The stamp set is not on sale. However, I forgot to mark the punch on this page here. Page 148 is where the stamp or the die is, and I believe it's on sale. So the handmade tag is the coordinating punch, and it is 20% off down to $24. On page 24, Nature's Prince is retiring. The French version is 30% off down to $23.80, and the dies are 50% off down to $25.50. This one also has a wreath, though, you know what, I forgot to grab the sample with the wreath, but I do have some that we did with Stamp Club with this one here. So this is one of the cards we made with Stamp Club that year when that one was released. This was another, and then I think this was the one I made for them. I can't remember, but hey, Linda and Sherry and Tiffany, I hope you guys are all doing well. So that is the Nature's Prince bundle. Below that one here on page 24, Lighting the Way is also retiring. The stamp set is not discounted. However, the dies are 50% off down to $21.50. This is one where I will for sure keep the dies. I haven't actually used the stamp set, but I have used the dies. So I used it back when we still had Mountain Air. I created this card for my son's birthday, and I used the lantern die. So I'm going to just skip ahead to page 164 so you can see the coordinating dies. And that is, I'll bring this a little closer, these ones right here, and that's the lantern. I love that little lantern. So they are 50% off down to $21.50. And this Rays of Light background, we haven't come to that page yet, but it is also retiring. This is one of my all-time favorite background stamps. I will not be letting that one go. So keep that one in mind for when we get to that page and I can fill you in on whether it's discounted or not. But that is the set of dies from the Lighting the Way bundle. On page 25, Color and Contour is leaving. This is one of the ones, I don't know if I've seen any comments of anybody guessing what the ones I'm most sad about are. The dies that coordinate with this one are some of my very most used dies. So I'm definitely sad about those ones. Hopefully there's something to replace them with. We also used this one back in a few years ago with In Color Club when we had Fresh Freesia and Evening Evergreen. So I have a couple of samples with this one, and that is the stamp there, the greetings. Here's another one of my most used dies I'm very sad about. And then this one here, this one I cased from Zara. Some of you probably know who she is, but I loved her sample when she shared this one. So that is Color and Contour. And you get all these nice layers of scallop rectangles, this nice scalloped edge. Those are from the dies. The stamp set is sold out, so if you want to get the dies to go with them, you can still get them. The French version of the stamp set is still available. It's 30% off down to $20.30. So if you wanted to have these floral images to go with the dies, you could still get the French version, and then it's just your greetings that would be in French, of course. So then the dies are 30% off down to $33.60. All right, now this is another favorite of mine, page 26, the Sending Smiles stamp set and the Sending dies. The French version of the stamp set is 40% off down to $18, and the dies are 40% off down to $27. So I have a couple of cards that I can show you. Not all of the products here will be current because I created these, I think, last year before the retiring list. So I think these dies are gone, but you can see how I used the Sending. And so the sending dies and then coordinated it with the extra little greetings that go with it. So that's another one that I won't let go of. I love this one, and I use these little flowers from there all the time as a little accent. So those ones, even if you just get the dies and use the greetings from other stamp sets to coordinate to fill in here, the dies I think are gorgeous. So there's my tip for you with such a deeply discounted set of dies. All right, page 27, Pansy Patch. The stamp set is sold out, so that one you cannot get anymore, but the French version is down 40%, down to 2040. So same as the other stamp set I was telling you about, you could use the French stamp set to get your floral images and then get the dies at 50% off for $22. I'm sorry, I don't have any samples of this one. Okay, page 28, we have the super cool stamp set. It is 50% off, down to $14, and this is the only sample I have with that one. So this was Lennon's birthday card. He loves retro things, so I made this one for him last year. So that is this one here. And I love the So Refreshing bundle. Page 29, this one is retiring. So the stamp set is not discounted. The dies, however, are 20% off, down to $34.40. And I have one sample that I can share with you. This is one that I created when I was invited to be a guest designer for the Global Design Project. So I made that one for them with this color scheme. So that one there. And I'll just bring this closer again. For this, I actually put a window sheet over top to give it the effect of looking like glass. So I thought that was a fun way to use the dies. And then one more time, I loved the beautiful little detailed strawberry and then the little the tablecloth, but you could use it as a carpet as well. I have musical theater on my brain when I'm saying carpet. Aladdin was what I had in my head as that came out. Page 30, the Lace Shop Suite Collection is retiring. And when it's a suite, we have some items here on the side listed, so I'll let you guys know all about those as well. So the Lace Shop DSP is 50% off, down to $8.50. That is this here. And the loose silver sequins, I believe they also retire. I'll just skip ahead to page 139. Hi, Diane and Audrey. On page 139, the loose silver sequins, they are retiring. They are 10% off, down to $8.10. They are featured here because they have made a variety of shaker cards, and that's a nice filler for a shaker card. So whether it's this bundle or another bundle that you have that shaker pieces are useful for, those sequins are going to be retiring. The stamp set is leaving. The French version is 30% off, down to $23.10. And the dies are 20% off, down to $32. I apologize, I don't have any samples with this one. On page 32, the Sweet Citrus bundle is leaving. This is another one that I'm surprised about and sad about. I love this one. I made so many cards, so bear with me here. I've got a few to show you. The stamp is 20% off, down to $25.60, and the dies, which are a dies with the hybrid embossing folder. So you can put your paper in the embossing folder with the die, and it will cut and emboss at the same time. You can even stamp your paper first and then match that up in there, and you can have a stamped, textured, die cut image. They're beautiful. So I'll show you here. You can see where I've stamped it, and then you die cut it and texture it at the same time. So this is a favorite of mine. I made a ton of cards with this one. I just couldn't stop when I was making these. And just to note, you've probably noticed this paper in some of my samples, the Glorious Gingham DSP, which is a favorite of mine, is also leaving. So when we get to that page, I'll tell you what it's discounted to. But these are some of the Sweet Citrus cards that I have made. We featured this one in Stamp Club last year as well. So these three were our Stamp Club cards. I made this one for them, and then they got to make these two. All right, and actually the Basic Borders dies are leaving. That is this one, and this one's already gone, but I will show you guys this background die here. It's leaving as well, so just keep that in mind when we get to the dies section. All right. On page 33, Good Feelings is retiring. The French version is 40% off, down to $19.80. On page 34, the Something Fancy is carrying over, so we will still get to use that one. And then, or even if you, I mean, anyone can still use them even if they're retired, but that one will still be available. $34, or sorry, page 34, I'm getting sidetracked here. Two-Tone Flora is retiring, and the dies are 50% off, down to $27. I think the only sample I have for that is for a paid project tutorial, so I can't share that one. Sentimental Park is carrying over, and the Best Family Ever is carrying over. However, Petal Park, which coordinates with Sentimental Park, is retiring. So this is the one that coordinates with the Punch. So the stamp set is 40% off, down to $19.20. And I didn't bring in my Sentimental Park samples. I just brought the Petal Park ones. So here are a couple that we did with Stamp Club last year when these ones were current with this DSP. And this one I cased by Stacy Marsh. She is super talented. If you guys need some inspiration, she's amazing. All right. So we will skip ahead. On page 38, Very Best Occasions is retiring. The French version is 20% off, down to $27.20. And on the bottom half of page 38, Apple Harvest is retiring. It is 60% off, down to $13.20. And the French version is 30% off, down to $23.10. On page 39, Cottage Wreaths is retiring. The stamp set is sold out. However, the French you could still get at 20% off, down to $20.80. So again, if you have alternate greetings you can sub out, then you could still get the images to use with the set of dies, which are 10% off, down to $48.60. All right, page 40. Season of Chic, I guess is how you would say that. The stamp set has sold out. The French version again is available. So here's another situation where if you want to use these images, but you're okay swapping out your greetings with other greetings you have, you can still get the French set just for the images. It is 30% off, down to $25.90. And the dies are 50% off, down to $25.50. And I'll just quickly show you guys these ones too. They have a lot of really nice detailed dies that come with this set. And that is this set here. I'll pull it closer again for you guys to see. So we have all of these really nice seasonal die cuts. So there's leaves, there are flowers, there's a seashell, there are snowflakes, and then there's this really cute background die as well. So that's another one where you can swap out your French stamp set for English if you want to have the bundle. On page 41, Wonderful Thoughts is carrying over. I believe it is just the bundle price that will not carry over. So we should still be able to get both stamps and dies for that one. On page 42, Regal Reindeer is retiring. The stamp set has sold out. You can get the dies, if those interest you, at 40% off, down to $27. Brightest Glow is retiring. The French version is 30% off, down to $23.80, and the dies are 50% off, down to $22.56 or $50, sorry. And then on page 43, the Perched in a Tree stamp set is retiring. The French version is 40% off, down to $19.20, and the dies are 40% off, down to $29.40. I do have lots of samples with this one. Now, you know what? They're actually handy. I just couldn't find them back when I knew they were elsewhere. So this is the coordinating die. So it has this really pretty background die. This paper, of course, is no longer available, but the bird fits really nicely in here. So you can just see the different ways. I apologize, I don't have the ones. Linda, if you're still here, she made me some beautiful cards with the actual bird. And I just didn't have time to grab those. I have a whole bucket of cards from her. They're gorgeous, and I love getting cards from her. I just didn't have time to grab those for today's live. But the bird, of course, looks really nice in that background, the die cut background. Ringed with Nature is retiring. The stamp set is 40% off, down to $19.20. And you know what? I didn't grab those, but I have quite a few cards with this one, with the house. It makes a really nice housewarming card, like a soldier house card. It's actually a pretty versatile set. And then it also has the textured embossing folder that coordinates with the die. So you can, I'll skip ahead to the dies just to show you for anybody that's not familiar. If you like camping, or if you need a variety of household type of cards to give, it's really nice. It doesn't look like too much here, but this is the textured embossing folder that creates the tree rings in the die cut. And so that texture will line up with all of these dies so that you have textured tree ring die cuts. So it's actually a pretty versatile one to have. I may have to do a reel so that you guys can see some cards made with this bundle here. So just to recap, 40% off for the stamp set, it's down to $19.20. And the French is also 40% off, down to $19.20. And I forgot to mark the dies on that one, so I'm going to go back to that page. I thought I had marked that one. So the dies are 50% off, down to $22.50. So that's a great price for those. On page 45, the Celebrate with Tags stamp set is 50% off, down to $16. This one used to coordinate with a set of dies that was in the holiday catalog, not this last year, but the year before. So if you happen to have that set of dies, then this is a good time to get the coordinating stamps for 50% off. I will have to show off your cards, Linda. I'll include them in some of the reels that I plan to make of the retiring stamp sets. Okay, page 46. I am so sad about this one. I thought for sure the little characters would at least carry over, but everything is leaving. So I have quite a few samples with this one to show you, but first I'll give you the information on the discounts. So the DSP is retiring. It is not discounted. The Ribbon Duo Combo Pack, which is these two here. It's a really cute lemon lime twist stitched ribbon, and then petal pink ribbon. I'll actually just quickly grab the ribbon so you can see them. This is the ribbon. It is 40% off for $8.25. All right, now the stamp set in English is not discounted. The French version is 30% off, down to $25.20, and the dies on their own are 30% off, down to $32.90. Now I will show you a few cards. So this one here, I cut these little characters from the DSP. The DSP is so adorable. If you like these little critters, get that DSP before it's gone. These are the tailor-made tags. They are leaving, so if you like those, I definitely won't be letting go of those. I use them all the time. This one here is also featuring that bundle. This die is also retiring. This one here features that bundle as well. So this one is this style of card. So we've got that one. This also features the DSP. I just did a watercolor background and then used the dies and this cute little lion. Here is that Rays of Light background stamp that is retiring, and I thought that the curtain tie back looked like a little wiener, so he's having a camp out on that one there. There is another one that I created with that DSP. Here is another one. This one is like a gift card pocket under there. And then this one was one that I recently made for the Stampin' Fancy Friday challenge. And then this one was another challenge. I can't remember what this one was, but I used the letters or the elements of the truck punch. To me, they looked like letters when I punched them out. So I made this card with that one there. So lots of ideas with that Zany Zoo bundle. If you don't yet have it, if you've got a use for little critters, that's a good one. All right. On page 48, Bird's Eye View, thankfully, is carrying over. I love this one. But sadly, Hey Chuck is retiring. So the stamp set is retiring, the dies are leaving, and they are 20% off, down to $35.20. So this one, you would just have to weigh out whether it's cheaper to get the dies at 20% off and then not get 10% off on the stamp set, because you get 10% off on both if you buy it as a bundle. So you just have to weigh that out. All right, page 50, Easter Bunny is retiring, and the French version is 40% off down to $15.60. The English version is 50% off down to $13, and the punch is 20% off for $24. 50% off. I have a feeling that this stamp set is going to sell out fairly quickly. That is such a great price, and it's such a cute stamp set. Happy Labels is retiring. It is 50% off down to $16.50. The French version is 40% off down to $19.80. On page 51, Silly Goose is retiring, and it is 50% off down to $17. I have a feeling this one will sell out as well. I could be wrong, but that's just my guess. And then just backtracking to Easter Bunny, this is a sample that I have with that one where I attempted the no line coloring. So that was my first go at no line coloring. So there's that one there. Okay. I apologize, I don't have samples with the next two. Now, Taco Fiesta has already sold out. I do have a sample here, but I guess that doesn't really do you any good. I made a shaker card with that one, but it's not so useful because you cannot get this one anymore. We have Little Monkey. This one I thought would carry over as well. He's adorable. This one was for another Fancy Friday challenge, so I made this card with the Little Monkey stamp set. I did not use the punch because the punch was for a different, it's for this guy here, and I stamped this guy. But you definitely can use elements to create a background. And then I just love that little monkey hanging in the tree. So that's that one. No discounts on that bundle. The Biggest Wish stamp set is also retiring. The French version is 30% off down to $16.80. On page 54, Hello Kiwi is 50% off down to $14. And the Share Milkshake is also leaving. It is 50% off down to $13, and the dies are 50% off down to $20.50. This is another one where even if you don't have the stamp set, the dies are a great option at such a discounted price. This card here we created with Stamp Club back when this card or this bundle was released, and I didn't require them to have the stamp set for this one because I was able to just send them all of the die cut pieces by using the dies. So you can still make really cute milkshakes without the stamp set. And this is another one where Linda sent me a pile of cards with this bundle, so I will have to show those off for you guys just to give you some inspiration. So that is Share Milkshake. Phrases for All is also retiring. No discount on that one. Friendship Royalty is retiring on page 56. And then on page 57, Little Dreamers is also retiring. The French version is 30% off down to $23.10, and the dies are 10% off down to $35.10. So I have a couple of samples of that one as well. So we have this one here where I used the Stargazing DSP and the holographic DSP for the stars, and then I colored that guy in. And then this one here, I believe this is the Bright and Beautiful from that balloon bundle at the beginning of the catalog. That's what this DSP here is. And then mostly featuring the bundle for the rest of it. But I just love those clouds with this one. So that is Little Dreamers. If you are in a demographic where you either know people having kids or your kids know people having kids, that's a good one to have on hand before it retires. All right, page 58, Hello Ladybug. It is retiring. The French version is 30% off down to $17.50, and the punch is 40% off down to $18. On page 59, we have Happy Hedgehogs. It is retiring, and the punch is also retiring, and it's 50% off down to $15. Sweet Songbirds is retiring. This one I'm sad about. I love this one. It is, the French version, is 30% off down to $18.20, and the punch is 50% off down to $15. So this is another one where it's a really good time to get the punch at such a good price. Another one I wouldn't be surprised if these sell out. So this one we featured back when these colors were first introduced. These are the colors that are outgoing this year. So Tahitian Tide, we don't have this glitter paper anymore, but you can see how cute it is just with paper as opposed to the stamped version. The stamped version is cute too, but I love just punching the elements out of cardstock, probably even more than the stamped version. So that is one, and this is another, and then this was another. So there's a variety of, you can use the nest, you can use the tree branch, and then just to note, this Merry Melody embossing folder is also on the retired list. So I will show you guys that when we get to that page. All right, so Sweet Songbird is leaving us. I just love those sweet little music notes. So cute. All right, thankfully, Playing in the Rain is staying. We are losing Everyday Thanks on page 60. It is not discounted. And also By My Side is retiring on page 61. On page 62, this one surprises me. I thought for sure that this would stay. So we are keeping some things, losing some things. The DSP, surprisingly, is staying. I love this DSP, so I'm not complaining. But I'll go back to the Ladybug Punch for you in just a second, Audrey. We don't often get to keep DSP, so I'm happy that the DSP is staying. We are, however, losing the embossing folder. So the Country Blossoms embossing folder is 40% off, down to $7.05, and we are losing the stamp set. It is not discounted. So we carry over the dies, from what I understand, and we carry over the DSP. And I'm going to just backtrack to Ladybug Punch. It is 40% off, down to $18. All right. Now, just make sure of where I was here. Yeah, we covered Countryside Inn. Now we are at page 64, Lasting Joy. It is 50% off, down to $14, and the French version is 30% off, down to $19.60. Then on page 65, we have Textured Floral is carrying over. It's just the bundle price will be discontinued. So you can still get the different elements, you just can't get the 10% off. No problem, Audrey, happy to help. Sometimes it's hard to decipher that whole retiring list in that compacted chart. So if you can follow along with somebody doing the walkthrough, it's a little bit easier to process. So page 66, Quiet Meadow, it is retiring. The French version is $20.30, and the dies are 50% off at $26. I am going to quickly show you the dies. This is another one that I really like. So this one here goes with the Meadow dies. So they're 50% off, down to $26. And these ones are great all on their own. If you don't have that stamp set, they don't actually have, like, it's really just the greetings that coordinate, but you get all of these really pretty stems for 50% off. So you could use those with any greetings, really. So there's that one. I am so shocked about Timeless Arrangements. This is one of my all-time favorites. This is probably my most used stamp for greetings and my most used thank you ever. I love this little thank you. It's just the perfect thank you for so many things. And I love it with this little die cut. So this is, I just love that. It's such a perfect, I don't know, I'm so shocked that this one's leaving. And then I love these little sprigs that fit so nicely in behind all of the die cuts. So you get the different sizes of die cuts for greetings, and then you get all of these little elements that tuck in behind there. So I'll bring this a little bit closer so you guys can see for anybody that doesn't have it, but there's all of these different little sprigs that you can layer behind there, and then 3 different die cuts for greetings. You could even stamp a really tiny one on there if you wanted to. But hey, Angela. I'm surprised this one's leaving anyhow. So Timeless Arrangements stamps are leaving, and the Timeless Arrangements dies are also leaving. The dies are 20% off, down to $38.40. On page 68, we have the Darling Details bundle retiring. It does not appear to be discounted, and this is the only sample that I have that I made with that one. And here again is that glorious gingham DSP that is one of my favorites. This is that little die cut. that I used right here. So you can see that that little label die cut is super useful beyond just that one there as well. So that is the Darling Details. Sorry, I skipped back. That is the Darling Details bundle. Okay, we are going to skip ahead. This one is sold out in the English version. So if you were okay using, if you wanted the images from this and you don't mind swapping out greetings with another stamp set, you can still get the French one at 40% off down to $19.80. So I will show you a couple of samples with this one. So I have this one here that I created. The news, I just used the Alpha Best stamp set, which is also retiring, but I used that to make the title there. And then I used the Alpha Best again with this one. This was for a challenge where we were to create a card that featured a favorite childhood or favorite book. And we read this one a lot with our kids. So that was the inspiration for this one. It was Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. You should look it up if you like cute kids books. So I made this one to mimic the book, and it's featured on Instagram too and Facebook if you want to check that out. But Alpha Best is really nice for customizing your cards. So that is this one here. And then here I used it again. This one might be the card that I won the color challenge with to create the next color challenge card for the Global Design Project that I showed you with the So Refreshing card. So that is just my type. Again, the French version is the only one that you can get of that one. Here's another one that I am so surprised about. The Earth and Elegance Suite. So the suite is leaving. We are on page 70 for anybody who needs a recap of the page. I'll give you the details here on what's discounted, and then we'll jump into this here. So the Earth and Elegance DSP is 10% off down to $15.30. The Natural Wavy Trim is 10% off down to $8.77. And I have a few samples with this one. I know I have more because I think we use this for Stamp Club, but couldn't find them in a hurry. So the Earth and Textures stamp set, French is 10% off down to $32.40, as is the Spanish version. Did you know we have some stamp sets in Spanish? It's also 10% off down to $32.40. The English version remains at $36. The dies are 20% off down to $38.40. This one's another one that it has a lot of really cute elements that you could use even without the stamp set. I love this little element of this one. So this one here I created with that bundle, and this is the wavy trim right there. This die, this background die here, I think it's, oh gosh, I'll let you know when we get to it, but there is a background die set that is retiring, and this is from that one. So remind me to point that out when we get to that one. This one here is basically, it's mostly just the dies. So again, you can use mostly just the dies if you don't want the stamp set. And then this one here, I also created with just the dies, and then a mix of word dies with that one. But I love a rainbow. Who doesn't love a rainbow? We're doing some rainbow cards with Stamp Club again this month using the Happy Little Things bundle. Okay, page 72, Courage and Faith carries over. Hope and Prayer retires. It is not discounted. Places in the Heart on page 73 retires. It is regular price for English, and French is 30% off down to $21. And this is the only sample that I have of that one. The frames are unfortunately already retired, but I loved that one. It's a cute stamp set. All right, now on page 74, Time Together is retiring. The stamp set remains regular price. The dies are 50% off down to $22.50. And I will just quickly see if, I'll just bring this closer so you guys can see the dies. Probably one of the most common uses I've seen with this one is people have taken this die right here and turned that into like a bikini top or even a bra top and use that for like cancer survivors or fun polka dot bikinis. So you can make alternate things with that die set if you're inclined to. And you get the two different sizes. So you could make little mini ones, bikinis or bras, and then you could make bigger ones with this one here. So it's a cute die set. Page 75, the Country Bouquet bundle is leaving. The stamp set is 60% off, down to $12.80, which is a steal. Or the French version is 40% off, down to $19.20. And the punch that coordinates, which punches out the leaves and these two hearts, is 50% off, down to $15. On page 76, Everlasting Beauty is retiring. It is 10% off, down to $32.40. Here's to Love carries over, and Kindest Expressions also carries over. On page 78, we have the Let's Go Fishing Suite. So we are keeping some elements of this one and losing some elements of this one. Sadly, we are losing the DSP. I love this DSP. It's got some less gone fishing related themes on one side and then the more fishing related themes on the other side. So if you need masculine DSP before this retires, this is a good one to do masculine projects or neutral things. So this is one of the neutral patterns. I believe we still have Trucking Along in the online store. I haven't checked, but that is the DSP there. And just created that fun flap card. This was a swap I did for Onstage. And you've probably noticed these little rustic metallic dots on a lot of my projects. They are leaving. I think I've got them here. I use these a ton. So if you want a nice basic, I think masculine, or like obviously this isn't masculine, but that is such a versatile embellishment that I use a lot. You want to get that one before it's gone too. Okay, so the DSP is leaving. It is not discounted. And the Twisted Rope 3D embossing folder, which creates this texture right here, that is leaving. And it is 20% off, down to $11. Then if you like the bundle, it will still be available, just not as a bundle. So we will lose the bundle price. These separates will carry over though. On page 80, we have the Supremely Awesome. I'm sorry I don't have samples of these, but that is retiring. It's not discounted. It's a Science is retiring, not discounted. And Construction Zone is also retiring and not discounted. On page 82, Next Destination is retiring. It is 50% off, down to $16.50, and the French version is 20% off, down to $26.40. On page 83, Sweet and Precious is retiring, and He's All That is also retiring. The French version is 30% off, down to $21, and the dies are 40% off, down to $23.40. So you can see here that all of these have dies. So this one is another one that at that price, those are some really good basic dies. Page 162. I will just skip ahead so that you can see what they look like. These are some nice basic ones. You get this nice, oh gosh, it's like the Starburst. It's not scallop, they're little pointed edges. And then an oval, you get these two detailed ones, these label dies, and then these ones as well. So 40% off, down to $23.40. You can use that one really well with any other stamp set. I use it mostly with other stamp sets actually, but it also goes nicely with these greetings here if you need masculine greetings. So that one is leaving. On page 84, Oceanfront is leaving. And oh my gosh, I forgot to give me 1 second. I will be right back. Sorry about that. Okay, so I just have some here in a bucket that I will grab quickly. Sorry to leave you hanging. They will be created with a mix of so this one here, you can see that's this here, and then this is that, and then this here is the bottom here. So we had another coordinating stamp and die set that went well with it that I also used on here, but you can see elements of, like this here is stamped in there, So that is one. And then this one was created with dies from another set as well, but those are the elements, the stamped elements from here. And that's about it from that one there. So that one I loved as well. I'll hang on to that one. Grassy Grove carries over, and then we do lose Wild and Sweet. I have some samples, but I'm not entirely sure where those ones are, so I'm not going to make you wait for me to find those. Oh, thanks so much, Janelle. That's really nice of you. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. All right, page 86, the Stargazing Suite. This one is, I love this one for some reason. I just love these bright papers, and I think it's a cute masculine set. Oh, I shouldn't say masculine. Girls can have cards made with that too. So I'll tell you what is discounted, and then I'll show you some samples. The Stargazing DSP is 40% off down to $10.20. I need to get myself an extra one of this. Hopefully I don't miss it before it sells out. And the holographic trio paper is also retiring. It is not discounted. So that is this one here. So you get those fun holographic patterns. And then the stamp set is retiring, not on sale. The dies are 10% off down to $42.30. So here is one that I made that showcases the DSP and the holographic paper, where I stamped this guy onto the holographic paper, the silver one, and then die cut him. So I stamped that with Versamark and then heat set with black powder and tied in some of the retiring ribbon as well. And then this is the holographic paper as well, and that's this purple one right there. I also got a really fun card from Tim Lauer. He is a German demonstrator. We met him on the trip last year. We'll see him again at the end of the month, working out some excursions with him possibly. He's like closer to my son's age, and my sons are coming, so the kids are trying to work out an excursion. But he made this. I should not show you what he wrote in it, but I thought that this was a really neat, it's magnetic. So I loved how he featured the DSP here, and that is the inside. So he did a really nice job with that. Hi, Paulette. He's super talented. He is Der, so D-E-R, Stempler on Instagram, and he has a YouTube channel. It's in German, but if you want to, he is a mathematician, so he comes up with these fancy folds on his own. So if you guys ever want to follow or find fancy folds, check him out on YouTube. And I don't know if there's a way to follow in English, or if his instructions, if he provides them, are translatable, but he is a super interesting card maker. All right, so we will skip ahead now to page 88, and Legendary Ride carries over. However, we will lose On the Ocean. So the stamp set is How Did He Make It Magnetic? Before I give you the information here, I'm going to backtrack to this one. There's a magnet in between here, and then in between this has the writing on it, this white piece, and then the DSP here. So he's sandwiched a magnet between those layers there so that it lines up with this magnet that is sandwiched in between here. And they are just like really flat magnets that are very strong, but made for card making. So they're not like the Stamparatus magnets strong or thick. They're thin, but fairly strong, so that they can hold through those layers. I hope that helps. Okay, so On the Ocean, it is regular price for the stamps. The dies are 50% off, down to $24.50. And this one, I just have one sample that I made. So my kids loved, or my younger one loved, pirates when he was little, and I have lots of pirate pages to still make. We did his 5th birthday party, was all pirates, so I'll hang on to this bundle for when I get to creating pages for him, hopefully one day soon. And then Beside Me is carrying over. On page 90, Fun on Wheels is retiring. The English version is regular price. The French version is 20% off, down to $28.80. And the dies are 40% off, down to $24. I haven't made anything with this one yet, though I do have it. So I hope to be able to create some things with you guys in the next few weeks while the catalog is still available to us. On page 91, I do have some samples with that one. Let me just, here we go. There's one. Now, we might have missed the others. Okay, so this one uses this, oh, you know what, it's carrying over. It's just the bundle price. So we're mostly good on this one, but I'll show you this one anyway. So if you like to get things at 10% off before they go up in price, these are some elements from that bundle there. So my apologies that I'm showing you this one and it carries over. All right, now on page 92, Enjoy the Rhythm is retiring. It is 50% off, down to $14.50 for the English version, and the French version is 30% off, down to $20.30. The Brewed for You bundle is leaving us as well. The stamp set is regular price for English. French is 30% off, down to $17.50. Hey, David. The dies are 50% off, down to $16.50, and I'm just going to skip ahead on that one as well, so that I can show you guys. You could also make use of these even without the stamp set. This is the one, I have a set of cards. So if you want some inspiration, I created some cards with that bundle. Actually, my son did. Him and I went live together. The Wild and Sweet card with that panda bear I made, and he made a Coke card actually with this one. So if I can find them, I'll post them in the comments on this video. So that's where I will post photos of samples that I didn't have with me today, but I'd still like to show you. So I will add them into the comments of this video. So if you come back and check those out, you'll see more inspiration there. Okay, so we'll backtrack. How are you, David? Hopefully things are settling down some. So page 93. We have Level Complete. I don't think I have this one. Our kids aren't super into video games, but it's still cute. There's a good sample with this one. I love that card. All right, so the English version is regular price. French is 30% off, down to $23.30. So if you have kids in your life that are into video games, that's a good one to get before it's gone. And I believe Tim actually has a sample with this bundle made on his page. Okay, page 94, the Inked Botanical Sweet Collection is retiring. I'll again give you the information on the elements, and then I don't actually have samples with this one, so I won't have anything to show you, but I'll give you the information here. So Inked Botanicals 6x6 DSP is 20% off, down to $13.60, and then the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon is also retiring. That's this one here. It's really soft. I love that ribbon. It is not on sale, but it is leaving. The Inked and Tiled stamp set, English is regular price. French is 30% off, down to $25.90. And then the punch pack, which doesn't actually punch any of the flowers, so you don't necessarily need it, but they are fun little shapes to have, is 20% off, down to $44. And it is this shape here, or you can see these two here. And then you can see how they've used those different elements on this page here. Okay, on page 96, we are losing In the Moment. It is retiring. The English version remains regular price. French is 30% off, down to $23.10. And I have one sample done 3 ways. You can see this on my Instagram from a few years or a couple of years back, but I created this little pocket. So this is like a hot chocolate pocket card, or you could put a gift card or anything in there. But I used it back when we had this knit sweater background stamp. But I colored one with blends on an acrylic block. So you color the blends on an acrylic block and then pick the color up with a color lifter from the acrylic block, and then color in the image. So that was this one. This one was pencil crayons, and then this one was the blends straight to paper. So one card, the same colors, 3 ways. But I love this one. And if you need some tips on coloring with this one, Barry and Jay, they're in the UK, they're Matosu Crafts. They have a coloring class where they featured this stamp set, and you can purchase that from them and learn some great coloring techniques with that one. Layering Leaves carries over. And then we have Go To Greetings is leaving. The English version is regular price. French is 40% off, down to $19.80. 98, page 98, we have Bottled Happiness. It is retiring. The English version is regular price. French is 40% off down to $19.20. And the Punch, which punches this vase or whatever you want to call it, bottle, is 50% off down to $15. There are also shaker domes that go with that. They are 40% off down to $6.60. So that set is a good price if you're interested in fun little shakers. The elements of that one are a good price. Page 99, Bold Bouquet is retiring. The dies are 50% off down to $19.50, and the stamps remain regular price. On page 100, we have Wildlife Wonder retiring. The English version is $33 still, and the French version is 30% off down to $23.10. And I have one sample with this one. So this is, I think, another Fancy Friday project. So that one there, I love the bear especially. I think he's so cute, and I think it goes really well with this die. These are carrying over. These aren't the rustic metallic dots. These are just metallic dots, but I love using those. And sadly, Vellum, David, I don't know if you heard this, Vellum is retiring, and I don't know what I'm going to do without it, and it has already sold out, so I can't even buy myself more. I accidentally purchased 2 packages of the pattern vellum, thinking I was ordering cardstock vellum. When it arrived, it was the pattern vellum, so I went to check the inventory report, and the vellum is sold out, so I cannot get any more. Anyhow, so that is Wildlife Wonder. Now we have Scenic Wonders, and I don't own this one, so I'm sorry I don't have samples, but it is 50% off down to $18. I love this one. I think that's really pretty. And then the French version is 40% off down to $21.60. Next on page 101, we have Seaside Bay. It is retiring. It is 50% off down to $18. The French version is 40% off down to $21.60. And the dies are 60% off down to $18.80. So with the English version, you could basically get stamp and dies for $36.80. Then there's your tax and shipping, of course, but that's a really good price for that. And I cannot show my samples with this one because they are for a paid tutorial group that I'm part of. So my apologies there. Okay, page 102, the Masterfully Made Suite Collection. I love this suite. I love the DSP. I love the stamps. I love the dies. I'm shocked that this one's leaving. I do have more samples than what I have handy, but again, I can hopefully post those for you guys and do some lives between now and then. So the DSP is 12 by 12. It is these bright fun patterns here, and there are patterns on the back. They're a little more tame. This is my favorite one right there, which you'll see on one of my cards. It is 30% off down to $11.90, and we will keep the adhesive backed sequins trio, so those will stay. The stamp set is retiring, it's regular price, and the dies are 20% off down to $35.20. This is another one where even if you didn't get the stamp set, the dies are beautiful on their own. So here is one card that I created with that one. This shimmery paper is retiring, and I chose to not punch out the negative spaces here. I kept them in, and with this shimmer paper, it just kind of keeps it attached unless you push them out. With cardstock, it doesn't quite work that way. They kind of fall out, but with the shimmer paper, they stayed intact. So I liked that look. I'm sorry I have the hiccups now. All right, so that is one card. And then this one is a similar version, just without all the extra layers of blending behind it. So kind of like a simple and a stepped up version of a very similar card. I think this one was my swap card for Norway. All right. Now, page 104, Vertical Blooms is retiring. It is 50% off down to $13. Days to Remember is also retiring, and it is not on sale. On page 105, Coffee with Friends is staying. On page 106, we have Marvelous Nature, and that is retiring. It is 40% off down to $21.60. I used the Celebration paper that is now, it's no longer available, with this one. And somehow this got some water on it since I made this. But this, with the stamping this on the glass mat, worked like a charm. And I just loved how simple that card was. But that is Marvelous Nature. On page 107, we have Botanical Layers. It was one of the freebies with Celebration, but you can now get it for 60% off, down to $12.80 if you missed out. It had sold out towards the end of Celebration, so now is your chance to get that for a really good price if you missed out. And then we have Your Path Awaits is 50% off, down to $16.50. That one is retiring as well. I'm going to backtrack one second. Look how they did that. This is what made me want this stamp set, that card. All right. Page 108, Love for You. The stamp set is 50% off, down to $14 in English. French, I'm sorry, the dog's barking because I think Ethan's home from school, is 30% off, down to $19.60. The dies in English, because they are word dies, I'll show those to you afterwards. No, they don't have them here. I thought maybe they'd show them here, but the English version is 60% off, down to $17.60. The French version is 40% off, down to $26.40. And then I think I told you the stamp set price, but just in case I didn't, it's 50% off for the English version, down to $14, and French is 30% off, down to $19.60. Sorry that I'm like having a brain fart there. And then here are the dies. So you can see that they are actual words, which is why there's a French and an English. Okay, so it has the So Much Love and For You, and then some little flowers that will also coordinate with the stamped images there. We get to keep Sea Turtle. And then on page 109, Enchanted Butterfly is 40% off, down to $19.80. On page 110, we are going to lose some elements of the Fresh as a Daisy suite, but thankfully we will get to keep the elements of the bundle. So the Fresh as a Daisy DSP is 20% off, down to $13.60. The adhesive backed solid gems are 40% off, down to $6.60. Then we will keep the stamps and dies separately. They will not have a bundle price. Okay, page 112, Beauty of the Deep will carry over, just not at a bundled price. And then on page 113, Waves of Inspiration is retiring. The French version of the stamp set will be 40% off, down to $19.20. And the dies are 50% off, down to $23.50. So I have some samples. Keep in mind, many of them are made with the DSP that we used to have to go with this when it was an online exclusive, and the foil paper that we had when it was an online exclusive. So I will share them with you if you are up for that, or I'll share them anyway because I might not have time to wait for comments before I just show them. But we did a teammate and I did a stamp camp with these. So here is a shaker card. Though these sequins are not available, the loose silver sequins would look just as nice. And so again, it's the foil, but you could cut this with other foil. Some of the shimmer paper would look really pretty actually, that's retiring. And then shimmer paste over top. And then I used a different thank you for that. And then the background is the DSP, but there's that one. This one is the same. This one was a easel card, and this one is, there's some DSP, but just stamping there. And then this is this here, and the bird, we just stamped these layers multiple times to create that. So there's that one. Then we have this one. That's the same one. Here's the same one. This one's nice and simple. Same one there. This one is embossed. I think I can't remember how I inked that one. This was a tag that I put on their retreat packages. And then I think these are the same. So that is the Waves of Inspiration. Hopefully you are inspired. I love that bundle. I can't decide. I think I'll end up keeping that one. It's so hard to let some of them go. All right, then we have, on page 114, Artistically Inked is retiring. The French version is 40% off and down to $19.80. And the dies are 50% off, down to $24. I'm just backtracking. I did give you guys that information there. And I have a few samples. So the DSP is retired because these were made a while back, but I will show them to you anyway. So these are one of the dies that goes with that, and then the thanks, but you could swap that out for any pretty DSP you have, but nice and simple. This one, again, swap the DSP out for something pretty that you have and let that do the work. This is another one where we stamped this repeatedly across the card. I think this one's really pretty and simple. And then same thing here, just swapped out the two big die cuts that come in that set. So it has this one and this one as the nice big ones. So basically the same card, just done two ways and with two different tones of ink behind it. So that is artistically inked. And then we have Prized Plant is 50% off down to $14. And Softly Sketched is also retiring. I apologize, I don't own these ones, so I don't have any samples with those. On page 116, Around the Bend is retiring. So the stamp set is leaving, but the dies are staying. Then Alphabest is the alphabet stamp set that I was telling you guys earlier, where I made my custom greetings for Click Clack Moo. I also made Snacklebox. So this one, okay, this has a variety of stamp sets that are retiring, but the Snacklebox, like the die, the tackle box for the Gone Fishing, is staying. So this is from that So Cool stamp set. Both of these are the little roll and the pretzel. That is the one that I showed you guys back in the beginning that I made this card with. So the pretzel and this are from the same stamp set as that. I don't know what order that went in anymore. These little strawberries are from that So Refreshing bundle that had the lemonade jug. And then this one has sold out. That's Taco Fiesta, but unfortunately you can't get that one anymore. But you can still get Alphabest. The stamp set is leaving, and the punch is also leaving. The punch is 30% off down to $16.80. That's this punch here. And then the Alphabest here, this one here, is the little outline that you can stamp the letters within. So Alphabest is leaving, and I love these letters on their own. I think that these letters are a really nice alphabet to stamp your own words with. And that is a photopolymer alphabet stamp. Stamped with Love is carrying over, thankfully. Okay, we're almost done with all of the stamps. So we're down to the background stamps, and I am shocked. There's so many leaving. So we have Sketched Plaid carrying over. Thankfully, I love that one. Berry Harvest is leaving. It is 50% off, down to $14. It's in the Stars is leaving. It is not discounted. That one also goes really well with the Reach for the Stars. Rays of Light is like, crushes me that this one's leaving. I love this one. So I have a couple samples to show you with Rays of Light. So the palm tree is retired, but I just love Rays of Light. I showed you guys the one with the lantern for Ethan's birthday. And then this one here is, I believe this greeting is retired from last spring, but these little guys carry over. But that's the Rays of Light behind there. I've used it on so many projects. I showed you it on one of the Zany Zoo samples as well, where I just used part of it on a circle. I love that one. Spiral Die is retiring. Timeless Tiles is retiring. This one is 40% off, down to $15. Watercolor World, thankfully, carries over. Snow Crystal is retiring. That one is 50% off, down to $14.50. I'm kind of surprised about that one. That's also a really nice one. And then Perfectly Detailed is also retiring. It is 60% off, down to $13.60. So that is the stamps. I will now tell you guys what's what with all of the rest of the products. So as with all of our in color products, they stay for 2 years and then they're gone. So this is the color collection that is on its way out. Everything is leaving that pertains to these colors. So all of the cardstock is leaving. All of the stamp pads are leaving. All of the refills are leaving. We have 3 that are already sold out as of this afternoon, which were Parakeet Party. And when I say as of this afternoon, I mean that I did not check this evening right before I went live. So there's potentially more sold out, but as of earlier today, Parakeet Party was sold out, Starry Sky was sold out, and Orchid Oasis was sold out. So unfortunately, those ones are no longer available. The blends are also leaving. Now the blends are all discounted. So These, I wouldn't be surprised if they get snapped up quickly. My own list just keeps growing and it's a problem. Okay, so 40% off every single color. Every single one of these 5 colors are down to $8.25. So make note of those. So Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, and Orchid Oasis blends are down to $8.25. The other colors are not because they will stay. Okay, so that's that page. Now we will skip ahead. We have some more things that are retiring on page 125. We are losing the new core colors pack, which usually happens. They only stay for a year after we have a color renovation. So, and they're already sold out, so you can't get them anyways. The 8.5 by 11 cardstock pack is sold out, and the 12 by 12 card pack is sold out. The markers for the new color collection, or the new core colors, are 50% off down to $27.50. They were a Celebration offering when they released the add-ons, and they appear to still be available. With the in colors, with the 2022 to 2024, they are leaving. I marked the wrong line, so just disregard that. That will belong down here in the 2022 to 2024. The multi-pack of 8.5 by 11, sorry, the dog wants in, is retiring. The 12 by 12 is retiring. It is 10% off down to $17.10. The ink pads are retiring, and then the markers are also retiring. They are 50% off down to $12.50. So if you don't have the 2022 to 2024 in color markers and you want them, that's a great price. All right. Then these are carrying over, so we're good there. On page 126, the 6x8 cellophane bags are already sold out, but if you happen to be looking for them, they were retired, so you can no longer get those. The in color treat bags that are the colors that carry over, we will still have these for one more year. However, they are retiring the treat bags. They are 30% off down to $9.62. The envelope treat boxes, which are, nope, not those, sorry. They're envelope treat boxes. They are folded 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 by 1 inch high. They're 40% off down to $6.60, and you get 10 of them in a pack. The cardstock vellum, I'm devastated. I mentioned that, but my gosh, I'm so sad about this. Cardstock vellum is sold out, retiring. I did not even think I had to worry about vellum. All right, so we'll move on. Page 127, there's lots of retiring items, lots of discounts here. So this might take a little bit longer. So number 1, the holographic trio, which is the paper I showed you with the Reach for the Stars, the little astronaut. It is retiring. It is not discounted. Number 2, white center specialty paper, which is these colors here. And with the white center, that means that if you were to texture it and then sand it, you would have a white core inside there. That is retiring, and it is 50% off down to $7.87. Number 3, gold foil sheets are carrying over, so we are not losing those. Item number 4, rose gold 12 by 12 specialty, which is these ones right up here, is retiring, and it is 10% off down to $12.37. So with these ones here, you get 2 of each finish. There's iridescent, matte, and metallic finish. Item number 5, 12 by 12, it's textured 12 by 12 shimmer paper. So this one is right here. These ones were in the spring catalog in 2023. So you have the green, the balmy blue, and the white, and it is textured and a little bit shimmery. So it's really pretty paper. It is 40% off down to $8.25. Number 6 is the More Dazzle 6x6. That's this one here. There's kind of like a champagne and or a silver and gold. Yeah, it is champagne, sorry. Champagne and gold. And that is not discounted, but that is retiring. Number 7 is this one here. I love these papers. There's, okay, Pretty Peacock, I want to say. Yeah, so Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, Night of Navy, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. I have used these a lot. Those are the ones that I showed you with the Masterfully Made or the Gorgeously Made dies. I love these. They are not discounted, but they are retiring. Item number 9 is the In Color 12 by 12. Item number 8, sorry, is the In Color 12 by 12 textured specialty paper. So this is the outgoing In Colors with the, Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, and Orchid Oasis. That is 50% off, down to $7.50. Then we have number 9. This is the In Color 12 by 12 luster specialty paper. So it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it. And it is 12 by 12 in the In Colors that we just got last year. It is 30% off, down to $10.50. And then we are losing Distressed Gold. This is another one I have used a lot of. I love that paper. It is not discounted, but you get 2 12 by 12 sheets in that one. And it is $7. Okay. Now on page 129, we move on to the Designer Series paper, or DSP. So Bright and Beautiful, the 6x6, is carrying over. We are not losing that. And then also Countryside Inn 12 by 12 is carrying over. We are not losing that. Delightfully Eclectic is 50% off, down to $20.50. If you are in Stamp Club, we have featured this DSP for the last 2 months. And let me just see, we used that on this card here. I just posted this card on Instagram yesterday, though we made this a little bit ago. I waited until after our artisan samples were shared before I posted that one. And then I made this one too. These feature Encircled in Nature, which is an online exclusive, but that DSP is from there as well. This one is also from that DSP. And this one also is from that DSP. I probably have others as well, but those are the ones that I had the most handy. So $20.50 for 48 sheets. You get 4 each of all of those patterns. And they coordinate with, I also used it on, let me see if I can quickly find, just so I don't keep you too long. This one here with the So Refreshing is another pattern from there as well. So it's made to coordinate with a bunch of our different, it's an eclectic mix, we'll say. Okay, coordinates with a bunch of different bundles and stamp sets. On page 130, Earth and Elegance. Now we have covered most of these back when I was telling you about the coordinating bundle, but I'll just go through them here as well for you. Earth and Elegance is 10% off, down to $15.30. Fresh as a Daisy is 20% off, down to $13.60. Glorious Gingham, this is one of my all-time favorites. I love this one. I should get myself some more. Is 20% off, down to $11.60. Inked Botanicals is 20% off, down to $13.60. Let's Go Fishing is retiring. It is not discounted. Lace Shop is 50% off, down to $8.50. And this one, I feel like it has some more neutral patterns on one side and then the more shop type patterns on the other. Masterfully Made is 30% off, down to $11.90. Stargazing is 40% off, down to $10.20. Zoo Crew is not discounted. Super cute. It has a nice black and white pattern on one side and then the fun little characters on the other. If you've got kid cards to make, those are adorable. Some of them coordinate with dies and then some of them you would have to fussy cut or you just use the paper as it is. The color collections, so we have the In Color 6x6. All of these will retire. Some are, they're varying levels of discount, so I will tell you the different levels. So the 2023 to 2025 is 50% off, down to $8.50. The 2022 to 2024 is 40% off, down to $10.20. For the regular color collections, we have Brights is 10% off, down to $15.30. Neutrals are 10% off, down to $15.30. Regals are 30% off, down to $11.90. And the Subtles are 20% off, down to $13.60. Then we move down to the Gold Celebrations Specialty DSP. It is retiring but not discounted. The Vellums Basics, I love this paper. It's another one that I don't know what I'll do without, but well, you know, now I have 2 packs because I accidentally ordered myself this. It is 40% off, down to $8.25, and you get 2 each of 3 patterns in 12 by 12. So we have stripes, polka dots, and leaves, and they are super versatile. If you need just a little bit of detail on something, I use these ones a lot. Okay, now we're jumping into other paper products. We have on page 135, the Memories and More album carries over. The pages carry over. The Bright and Beautiful Memories and More card pack retires. It's 30% off, down to $8.22. The Bright and Beautiful Memories and More cards and envelopes are 40% off, down to $9. The basic white 3x3 envelopes are retiring. They are, however, already sold out, so we can no longer get these. The craft note cards and envelopes, they come in a little box. They are 10% off, down to $12.37. And then we are also losing the vanilla envelopes. So very vanilla, regular, the medium envelopes, they are retiring. And the very vanilla note cards and envelopes are also retiring. We will keep the white and the clear, but we are losing the vanilla. On page 136, I will just tell you the retiring items. So the Artistic Mix Decorative Masks, they are this collection right here. I love those as well. They are retiring. They are 10% off, down to $12.37. And then we have the 4 square. These ones I actually really like. They are 6x6 masks, and they are 40% off, down to $8.25. The embossing powders are being reconfigured. So the number here is technically retiring, but we will still have embossing powders available. And actually, as of right now, you can't. It's been a little while actually that the basics have been unavailable. So they're a reconfigured item. The basics are sold out. The metallics are still available, and neither are discounted. The heat and stick powder, I'm surprised about this one. It is retiring, so we will no longer have heat and stick powder. It is 30% off, down to $5.77. Okay, now I believe this page is safe. Didn't see anything on that list. This page is safe, and then we move along to page 139. All right, so item number 1, the iridescent shaker circles are 30% off, down to $6.82. The round and square brads are 40% off, down to $5.85. These are the little shaker elements that I was telling you guys about that went with the lace shop suite, but you could use them in any shaker. Same with these. They are the loose silver sequins. They are 10% off, down to $8.10. And then I love these little daisy embellishments. They are also leaving, they are 40% off, down to $5.85. We lose a lot of embellishments on these pages as well. More on this side than this side. So we'll go through just the retiring. I'll just tell you all of these. So item number 1, iridescent pastel gems, that's these ones here, are 40% off, down to $6.60. We keep items number 2, 3, and 4. And we will also, I have to confirm item number 5, adhesive backed solid gems. Looks like maybe they carry over. If I made a mistake on that, I will update you. Item number 6, festive pearls. These ones here, they are 30% off, down to $6.82. We are keeping number 7 and 8, and we are losing item number 9, which is the in color pearls. They are already sold out, so unfortunately you cannot get those. Rhinestone basic jewels are carrying over. This one is, I am using these on all of my in color samples for this month. We are using the, if you would still like to join us, let me know. We are using the Happy Little Things bundle, and we are making these cards. No, not this one, sorry. That one I had there to show you the DSP. We are making these, so I will make this one for them, and then they will make these two with me. So we're using the Happy Little Things bundle, and I used the iridescent rhinestones on all of these. I just love those iridescent rhinestones. So you can get those, and they are 40% off, down to $6.15. And then the brushed brass butterflies thankfully carry over. These are the ones that I don't know what I'm going to do without. Rustic metallic adhesive back dots. I love these. I use them so much. So 20% off, down to $8.80. We will keep the glossy dots assortment. We are losing the classic classic matte dots. Those are another one I use a lot. They're 40% off, down to $5.85. And we are also losing the brushed metallic dots, another one I use a lot of. They're 20% off, down to $9.80. We will keep the ombre matte decorative dots, and we will lose the 2023 to 2025 in color dots. We will also lose opaque ovals. I'll backtrack. These in color dots are 10% off, down to $9.90. And then going down to the opaque ovals, they are 40% off, down to $6.15. We will keep the neutrals adhesive backed sequins, and we will keep the adhesive backed sequins trio. We will lose the pastel adhesive backed sequins. They are down to $6.60 at 40% off. The gilded leafing, I'm sad about this one, is 40% off, down to $7.35, and without the heat and stick powder, that makes sense that would be leaving. And then we noted this earlier when we were looking at the coordinating stamp set, but the vintage bottle shaker domes are 40% off, down to $6.60. Skipping ahead to ribbon, we are losing pretty much everything. So I'll give you all the discounted information here. Page 143, the herringbone ribbon is 20% off, down to $9.40. The balmy blue and white variegated ribbon is 40% off, down to $7.35. Balmy blue and white double stitched ribbon is 40% off, down to $5.85. Pool Party grosgrain ribbon is 40% off, down to $6.60. Real Red and Garden Green ribbon combo pack is 30% off, down to $7.17. The Night of Navy bordered ribbon is 40% off, down to $7.35. The textured ribbon, which is in all of the in colors that we just got this year, is all retiring. Wild Wheat is 40% off, down to $6.60. Now these also have varying levels of discount, so I will give you guys the information on each of them so that you know what price each color is. So just to recap, Wild Wheat is 40% off, down to $6.60. Copper Clay is 20% off, down to $8.80. Moody Mauve is 40% off, down to $6.60. Boho Blue is 40% off, down to $6.60. Pebbled Path is 30% off, down to $7.70. Now, the Real Red and Burlap Ribbon Combo Pack is 40% off, down to $7.35. The Misty Moonlight Inner Braid Ribbon is 30% off, down to $7.70. I love black and white gingham ribbon. This is another hard one for me. It's the versatile things and neutral things that are so hard to lose. Black and white gingham ribbon, 10% off, down to $8.77. Pecan Pie bordered ribbon is retiring but not discounted. And the sheer ribbon combo pack that goes with the, oh my gosh, Bright and Beautiful or something like that, the balloon bundle at the beginning of the catalog, is 30% off, down to $11.90, and you get a sheer roll of each of those ribbons, each of those colors, I mean, all three. Now, page 144, we're continuing on with ribbon. We have the Lost Lagoon ribbon, the bordered ribbon. It is retiring but not discounted. The Ribbon Duo Combo Pack that is on the Zoo Crew page is 40% off, down to $8.25. Then we have all of the metallic woven ribbons that match the outgoing in colors. They are all at the same discount level. So Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, and Orchid Oasis are all 40% off, down to $7.35. The Gold Vanilla with the Gold Vanilla 3/8 satin edged ribbon is 40% off, down to $6.60. Silver Threaded Twine is 40% off, down to $6.60. The Natural Wavy Trim, I forgot to mark on this page, but I will give you the information because I marked it on the page where it coordinates with the suite. So it is 10% off, down to $8.77, and I don't have my Sharpie nearby to mark it myself. So 10% off, down to $8.77. The Simply Elegant Trim is also retiring. It's another one I'm sad about. We will keep the in color jute trim. We will keep linen thread. We will lose, I am so thankful for that. If we lost linen thread, I don't know what I would do. We will keep we will lose the 2022 to 2024 in color Baker's Twine pack. It is 50% off, down to $10.50. And then thankfully also we will keep the Baker's Twine Essentials pack, though I really wish they were split up and we could just buy the white by itself. Anyhow, so that is the ribbons. And we should be safe with these items here. Now we'll skip ahead to punches. So page 147, the circle is safe. The inked and tiled punch pack is 20% off, down to $44. The Little Monkey Builder punch is retiring. It is not discounted. And the Banners Pick-a-Punch is retiring, not discounted. And we will keep the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. We are losing a lot of punches, people. All right, so Country Bouquet punch. I think I forgot. No, I did tell you guys that one on that page. Country Bouquet punch is 50% off, down to $15. The Handmade tag is 20% off, down to $24. The Cloud punch is 50% off, down to $15. The Double Oval punch is retiring. It is not discounted. The Lasting Label punch is retiring. It is not discounted. If I have gone too fast on anything, don't be afraid to ask and I can recap it for you. The Dragonflies punch is retiring. It is 50% off, down to $15. The Easter Bunny punch is retiring. It is 20% off, down to $24. He's so cute. I'm so sad that one's going. The Decorative Circle punch is retiring. It is not discounted. And the Elegant Edge tag topper will carry over. The Very Best Trio punch is retiring. It is 50% off, down to $16.50. The Vintage Bottle punch is 50% off, down to $15. The Best Label punch is 30% off, down to $16.80. The Cherry Builder punch is 50% off, down to $15. This is the one that coordinates with the cherry stamp set, but I used it as an apple most predominantly. The Sailboat Builder punch is 50% off, down to $15. The Petal Park Builder punch is carrying over. Interesting. We are losing the stamp set. Songbird Builder punch is leaving. It is 50% off, down to $15. This one's really cute even without the stamp set. The Hedgehog Builder punch is 50% off, down to $15. And the Ladybug Builder punch is 40% off, down to $18. On page 151, we are losing a few blocks. So I will also list those for you guys. So because we're losing a few of them, we are also losing the Clear Block Bundle. And it is sold out because one of the blocks is already sold out. So we are losing Block A. It is already sold out. Block G is also leaving, and Block I is leaving. The Clear Block Storage Caddy is also retiring. And then the rest, we should be safe. Now we'll skip ahead to the next page where we have retiring items. I will recap the dies that are leaving just in case you're like me and you like to mark the die page as well. And so that you can see which ones are nice just on their own, even without the stamp set. So we have on page 155, the Beautiful Balloons dies are retiring. They are 10% off, down to $42.30. Beauty of the Deep carries over. Bold Bouquet is 50% off, down to $19.50. And the Carousel Horses also retires. Cheerful Daisies carries over. The Countryside Corners dies carries over, even though the stamp sets are retiring for Countryside Corners. The Crafting with You dies carry over, and Darling Details are retiring. On page 157, Earth and Textures dies are retiring. They are 20% off, down to $38.40. And Fun on Wheels are also retiring. They're 40% off, down to $24. Gone Fishing is carrying over. However, Gorgeously Made, the dies are retiring. They're 20% off, down to $35.20. On page 158, Hey Chuck, the dies are 20% off, down to $35.20. Lazy Days are 20% off, down to $37.60. Both are retiring. Let's Go Shopping is retiring. They are 20% off, down to $32. Little Dreamers is 10% off, down to $35.10. Reach for the Stars is retiring, 10% off, down to $42.30. And Seasonal Branches is 50% off, retiring, and it's down to $23.50. So Refreshing is retiring. It's 20% off, down to $34.40, and we are keeping Textured Floral. Time Together, up on page 160, is 50% off, down to $22.50. And the Timeless Arrangements dies are sadly retiring. They are 20% off, down to $38.40. Hi, Ruby. My dog is here. Wonderful Thoughts is carrying over. And then Zany Zoo is retiring. It is 30% off, down to $32.90. On page 162, the All That dies are retiring. They're 40% off, down to $23.40. We will keep Alphabet a la mode, thankfully. Around the Bend dies are staying. Oh my goodness, I have to pick up the dog 1 second. Yes, Ruby. Artistic dies are 50% off, down to $24. Aspen Tree dies are 40% off, down to $29.40. The Basic Border dies are 40% off, down to $24. I really love those dies. I used them here on that one. I've used them on a lot of different dies, but I love that there. We have Brood dies are 50% off, down to $16.50. Brilliant Backgrounds. This is the one I was telling you about that I used with, if I can find that card really quick, right here. I love that texture die. I've used it on others as well, but I just could recall that I had that one handy. So they're 50% off, down to $23.50. Chic dies are 50% off, down to $25.50. The Christmas Pine Cone are 50% off, down to $31. Country Wreaths are 10% off, down to $48.60. And the Cracker Treat Box are 20% off, down to $39.20. Dainty Delight, which is what I used on this card here, is 50% off, down to $24.50. We are keeping Deckled Rectangles, and we are losing Delightful Doily Hybrid, the dies, and the dies in the folder. So this is like the citrus bundle where you can die cut and emboss these daisies all in, or doilies all in one shot. Dots and Spots die is 40% off, down to $26.40. And if I didn't give you the discount here, 50% off, down to $29. Sorry, I don't remember if I said that or not. All right, page 164, Give It a Whirl dies. I love using the clouds and the hearts from these, so I'm kind of sad about those, but anyhow, they're 50% off, down to $27. Gorgeous Garden is 30% off, down to $40.60, and I've used that one a lot. So this here is from this die here. I used it again here, and then I've used those border dies behind here and along here, and then in a variety of other places, but 30% off, down to $40.60 for that one there. And then we will keep the Grove dies. We will lose Labels Aglow. They're 50% off, down to $22.50. We will keep Legendary Ride, and then we will lose Lighting the Way. It is 50% off, down to $21.50. This is the one that, oh gosh, sorry, Ruby, I gotta put you down. That's the one that I used here to make that lantern card. Love for You is in English 60% off, down to $17.60, and French is 40% off, down to $26.40. Meadow dies are 50% off, down to $26. On page 165, the Natural Prints dies are 50% off, down to $25.50. Thank goodness we keep Nested Essentials. On the Ocean is leaving, and that is the one that I made that one with. The dies are 50% off, down to $24.50. The Pansy dies are 50% off, down to $22. Paper Florist dies. Oh, I did have one with these, but I don't know what I did with that one. I just used those recently. Anyhow, the Paper Florist dies, there's a ton of beautiful samples with this one online. They are 50% off, down to $25.50. The Patchwork Pieces is retiring. It is retiring, does not appear to be on sale. The Petal Patterns, that's a really pretty background die, is regular price $62, so down to $31 at 50% off. And then we will keep Playing in the Rain. We still have more dies to go. So on page 166, Reindeer dies are 40% off, down to $27. Scalloped Contours, I highly recommend these. If you like I just love the scallop rectangles for those. This was my saving grace when we lost the stitched rectangles and the Stitch So Sweetly, but they're leaving now. So 30% off down to $33.60, and I love this scalloped border. The Seaside Bay dies are 60% off down to $18.80, and the Sending dies are 40% off in English down to $27, and also 40% off in French down to $27. Sentiment Silhouettes are 50% off down to $24 for that one. I love the little candle dies in that one. Sentimental Park is carrying over. Share a Milkshake is retiring, so that one is 50% off down to $20.50. And this one is one that I had showed you that is still really nice even if you don't have the coordinating stamp set. There's that one there. And then we will keep something fancy. We will lose Stitched with Whimsy. They're 40% off down to $24. We will keep Stylish Shapes. They're carrying over. Sweet Citrus, the hybrid die and embossing folder, is 50% off down to $22.50. And sadly, we are losing TaylorMade tags. These are one of my most used dies. Tree Rings hybrid embossing folder and dies are 60% off down to $20.40. And then Two Tone Flora, this has a really pretty background die as well, is 50% off down to $27. We will keep Wanted to Say. Thankfully, those are carrying over. The Waves dies are 50% off down to $23.50. And then we're into embossing folders. So with this one here, we have quite a few leaving as well. We will keep the Cane Weave. We are losing the Cascading Ruffles. They are 50% off down to $7.50. Countryside Blossoms is 40% off down to $7.05. And some of these are repeats from when we were in the dies there, but I'll just repeat them for you as well. So Delightful Doily Hybrid, 50% off down to $29. Elegant Eucalyptus is 50% off down to $7.50. Exposed Brick is carrying over. Fern 3D is carrying over. Geometric Patterns, it is 2 embossing folders and they're a little bit smaller. So those ones are 40% off down to $7.35. And then Merry Melody is also retiring. It does not appear to be discounted. The Metal Plate 3D is carrying over. Painted Posies is retiring. It's 50% off down to $7.50. We are keeping Painted Texture. Quatrefoil Tile is 40% off down to $7.80. Raindrops is 50% off down to $6.50. The Stripes and Splatters would have been 50% off down to $7.50, but it has already sold out. I may have an extra one, so if somebody is set on getting that one and you're in Canada, let me know. Sweet Citrus Hybrid Folder is 50% off down to $22.50. We are keeping Timber. We will lose Time Worn Type. It is 40% off down to $9. I also love that one. Tree Rings again is 50% off down to $22.50. And Twisted Rope 3D is 20% off down to $11. All right. So I missed these ones. So this is those Countryside Corners dies. We keep the dies and the paper, but there's the Countryside Blossom folder. I thought I'd show you guys that. And it's hard to tell, but this is actually that shimmer glittery paper. I used one of the dies to cut those. And then this is that Glorious Gingham that I showed you guys that I love so much. I had these ones handy. I thought I'd show them to you without just taking off and missing them. So that is just about everything in the annual catalog. We just have 2 things left. And you can get these if you want them by hosting between now and the end of the catalog. Calm and Quiet is a host set. It is retiring. And Night of Flight is another host set. It is retiring. I don't think I own either one of these. So I definitely don't have Night of Flight. But Calm and Quiet is cute. Anyhow, that is the annual catalog. I will still show you guys the spring catalog. It has a lot of carried over items in it, but I will actually, before I show you that, I'll stop this live and then come live in just a moment or two again, so that they are 2 separate videos, just to help people who are looking for the spring one not have to watch all the way through this one to get there. So first of all, before I leave, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. I will be placing an order. I will stay up here in Canada, or in Manitoba anyway. We have a few hours left to go before the catalog or the retiring list or the last chance sale goes live. So if you have something that you want and you want to tag on to that group order I have going in, you can either text me, email me, Facebook message me, and I can add those items for you to the group order. If you are a club member and you are watching and you want something that is discounted, for example, those iridescent rhinestones that we are using on all of our projects this month, and you want some added, message me and I can add those to your club order. I think I did note that in your supply list email that I sent you though, so I'm sure you're already aware of that, but just in case it missed you. Yeah, so if you would like to tag on to that order and you're local, message me and let me know. If you would like to be a part of if you're adding to my group order, you will still qualify for my retirement party. I'm not retiring, it's the catalog that's retiring. So a $65 purchase gets you a free gift. A $100 purchase gets you the retirement party set of cards and the free gift if you use this host code here. So you can shop online and you can use this host code, or you can contact me, and either way you will qualify for that event. It will run throughout the rest of the catalog. So there isn't a deadline except for the last date of the catalog, but keep in mind that it's while supplies last, and I would not be surprised if that sold out list really grows by the end of tomorrow because there's already some things on it. But just message me and let me know. I will say goodbye for now, and I will come back in a minute or two with the January to April catalog to walk through that one. And it should be pretty quick because there is so much that carries over from that one, and I don't have a lot of samples from that one to show you guys because most of what I have carries over, which is a nice thing. So thank you very much for watching. If there's any questions that I missed, I'll try to get back to them, and I will use this post to add further photos of things that are retiring for you guys to catch up on them that I didn't show on tonight's video. Thanks everybody. I'll see you in a minute.